Brenda J. Lilly here with the Bridge Artistic Network. I wanted to put out a small disclaimer before we launch into today's video. I am not a licensed therapist. I am just a fellow creative artist who hopes to encourage, engage, and hopefully empower other creative artists to go out and live their art dream. Okay, here we go into today's video. I hope you enjoy it. Well, good Monday morning, everybody. Monday morning, March 30th. If you can believe it, we are at the end of the third month of the year. I'm Brenda J. Lilly. This is Monday Morning Kickstart with the Bridge Artistic Network. I hope you like this video. If you do, give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It helps us with our algorithms, as you know. But most importantly, share this with those you know and love so that we can keep on becoming who we were created to be together. All right, I'll see you on the flip side. Bye. Well, good Monday morning, everybody. Brenda J. Lilly here with my big old cup of coffee, and I am ready to rock and roll. I hope you are too. I just posted about trying new things, doing new things, learning, growing, becoming for my Soul Care Sunday post this Sunday. And why do we try new things? So that we can keep on growing and learning and becoming, right? Why are you listening to this video right now? Because I might have some pearl of wisdom that you need to start your day off with. I don't know if that will happen, but glorious day, perhaps it will. But I talked about the trying new things, and I encouraged everybody on the Bridge Artistic Network to go out this week. If you're in a rut, try something new. Expand your territory, expand your mind, open your mind and your soul and your life to new thoughts, new ideas, new ways of doing whatever it is you do, and new art forms. Because this life is about learning new things. And that brings me to today's video. And I might sound a little bit frustrated, but I'm not really frustrated. I'm more intrigued by why this happens. Why is it when someone sees a piece of art, we have an opinion about that piece of art, whatever it is, if it's a sculpture, if it's a painting, if it's a sketch, a drawing, if it's a doodle, if it's a meal, if whatever the art form, if it's a dance piece, if it's a song, we all instantaneously have an opinion because we have our individual likes and dislikes, correct? Yes, correct. I'm glad you agree with me. Art is subjective. So I'm not going to be everybody's cup of tea any more than you're going to be everybody's cup of tea. We can all agree to that. Yes? Good. I'm glad we agree. But here's the thing, and this is what I don't understand. Why do we think that sharing our opinion is necessary? I'm not saying we shouldn't share our opinion, but why is it we think we have the right to look at someone else's art and say, well, that sucks? Or, oh, I don't really like that. I don't think that's any good. I just, it doesn't touch me in any way, doesn't engage with my heart. It doesn't, oh, this and this and this and this are wrong. Look, I have opinions, right? When I go see a theater piece, I have opinions. If you are my friend Joe, you know I have opinions. But speaking clearly, he asked for the opinions, so I gave him my opinion. And the thing is, it's just my opinion. Doesn't have to move or shake his opinion. Doesn't have to shake or move how he does things. Any more than anyone's opinion about our art form has to shake or move how we do our thing. We can look at someone who said, well, that sucks. I hate that. And say, I guess that's perfectly valid. I would have appreciated those words in a different way. The intriguing thing is this kind of communication about art, specifically about art. And I'm thinking about that. I don't know that it's specifically about art, but this post is specifically about art, so I'm going to stay there. Starts from childhood. Like, kids don't need to be taught how to be opinionated about something. If you talk to a 4-year-old, oh, they have opinions, and they're going to share them with you with no filter. So be careful what you ask a 4-year-old, because if you're vulnerable at all, they might lambaste you in a way you're not prepared for. And they're only 4, right? But it's interesting to me that kids are some of the most brutal and honest critics in this world today. Where did that come from? How does that form in our being so quickly? To have that like, that dislike, or to say, oh, well, that's no good. That's horrible. And I was listening to a couple of kids the other day, and they were engaging in a conversation about art specifically. And one of them didn't like what the other had done and thought it was horrible. And she did not couch her language in any nice way to the one whose art she was talking about. And my adult artistic heart broke just a little bit, because I am super aware that we artists can be easily derailed by those kinds of voices in our life if we're not careful about whose opinion we make matter in our world and in our life and in our art form. The truth is, as artists, we need to both stay open and vulnerable, because that is the world that helps us to that is how we are helped to create. It helps our creative process. But we also have to have some sort of thick skin to take the opinions of people that just sort of come out of left field, right field, out of nowhere, and just kind of smack us upside the head. Now, I watched as these two kids, or more, it was more actually, sort of navigated that conversation with each other. And one of them was like, well, that's not very nice. And I thought to myself, good on you for sticking up for this other person. And she was like, well, I'm not being mean. I'm just saying. She didn't even realize her words were mean. It's just her opinion. Oh, I thought to myself. See, she wasn't lacing her opinion with any sort of malice. In fact, she was just giving her honest opinion of what she saw. And so she was like, well, I don't even know what it is. And so the girl who created it explained what it was. And the conversation carried on. I was amazed by this little conversation, because the artist, the young artist whose drawing it was, didn't get crushed. There was a protector in the middle who apparently had no opinion and just didn't want a fight to break out. So the peacekeeper in the middle And then the one who had the opinion, who was flummoxed completely by the peacekeeper because they weren't being mean. In their mind, that's not mean language. It's just what is. She was speaking her truth. And I thought that that's so interesting that we almost villainize people's opinions when they don't line up with our own. Villainize, vilify other people's opinions when they don't line up with our own. If I love my piece, if you don't love it, you're wrong. But is that true? If art is subjective, then if you don't like it, then I'm not your cup of tea. It doesn't mean you're wrong. It just means what I do doesn't engage you. So the question isn't like I have a friend who absolutely loves modern art. And I love some modern art. I don't love all modern art. I mean, I've gone to a museum and there was a toilet in the corner with the lid up and it was painted with splatter paint, and that was a piece, and it was representational of whatever. I mean, there was a whole thing over it that said this describes the blah 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 blah. And to me it's a painted toilet. I mean, that's all it was to me. It didn't particularly take me down the road that the artist went. It doesn't mean that that artist's thought process was incorrect, wrong, or has no value. And obviously, someone somewhere thought it had use and value because it was an exhibit in a museum. So, you have to be aware that there are going to be things in this world that they don't like warm the cockles of your heart. They don't make you go, oh my gosh, that's so inspiring. Sometimes they just make you go, what? I was sitting in a show the other day. The end of the show happened, and I looked at my friend who I was with and I went, what just happened? And we were both so confused at the end of the show. And it took me like 10 minutes to sort of suss out the last moment of the show, like what it was. And then I went, oh, okay. But come on, you know? And so that frustrated me about the show's ending, right? But someone somewhere thought artistically, this will make all sorts of sense. Um, I just think that there's room for opinion, and there's ways to express those opinions that don't have to be soul crushing. I loved that these children were engaging with each other about art. I loved that they instantaneously set up a society of mutual care and support so that one could have the opinion, one could be protected from the opinion, or if you will, the peacekeeper was in the middle keeping the peace, and then a discussion could ensue because there was a peace filled environment. As soon as she said, well, I'm not being mean, the whole atmosphere in that moment changed for those kids. Oh, and they just started talking again. Would that adult people could do that more often and more frequently? I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to change you. I'm just saying what I think. And for us to be able to have a discussion with one another. I think that's how we avoid polarization, right? Is to recognize that not everybody that we bump into on this planet is mean-spirited. We can't continue, if you're thinking that way, you're going to be an island unto yourself at some point. We need each other in this world. And in order to grow as artists, we certainly need those various and sundry opinions. You know, one of the things I loved about my dad was that he would come to my shows and he would watch the show. He would congratulate me for the show. After the show, we would go out, we would do whatever. And then the next day, we would talk about the show and he would tell me what he saw and what needed improvement and where I could improve. So I knew it was coming, but he gave me a moment. He let me have my moment of, I just did that. That was good. That was cool. That was what it was. If I came off stage knowing I made 15 million mistakes and it was a horrible show for me, I would instantaneously say, don't even talk to me about it. I don't want to know right now. And he would actually encourage me. And he would say, it wasn't as bad as you think it was, but we'll talk tomorrow. So he would even give me time to process my own anger at myself for not doing the job as well as I could do. I loved that about him. It wasn't denying the truth that I needed to grow and change and keep on getting better, and that I needed to potentially make some changes. It was just saying, let's give it a moment. Because if we just beat up on you right now, you're not going to go anywhere with it. You're just going to feel browbeaten and you're going to get stuck. He was very aware. So I loved that those kids were also very aware, that this was a meaningful conversation. Now they, finished the conversation, then ran off and I don't know, they were playing something else after that. But it was just so intriguing to me to see that opinions form so quickly at such a young age. We already have ideas and understandings about the world around us and what we like and what we don't like. And mostly it's personality driven, right? So it's what we find beautiful. And each one of us finds beauty in other things. Like, not everybody loves going out into the woods. Not everybody loves going to the beach. Not everybody loves going up into the mountains. Not everybody loves Disney. I'm shocked and amazed as I even say that now, but not everybody does. We all have our likes, our dislikes. We all have things that inspire us and things that engage us. And as long as we continue to have good conversations around those things and continue to open up our minds to other forms of art, like go to a museum that it isn't just the artist you love, and see something else and see the value in it, see the beauty in it, see the artistry in it. Go to a musical, even if you're not a musical person, and listen and hear the artistry and appreciate the value of what it's giving to the audience, even if it's not giving anything to you. Like, look at the people around you and see what they're getting from it. People watch, go to Shakespeare, even if you hate Shakespeare, and listen to that language and let it flow over you and see what it's all about. Open your mind, your heart, and your soul to new experiences. And even if they're not something that you would normally engage with, I promise there's value in it somewhere for you. That's all. That's all I wanted to talk about today. All right. You have a great rest of your week, and I will see you again next Monday. Bye. Hey, thank you so much for watching our video. I hope you liked it. If you did, give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel yet, subscribe. What are you waiting for? All right. I hope you all have a wonderful week. Bye.